Hey guys, Sophia here with turquoisetoffee.wordpress.com, and I'm back with another video. Today we're talking about the 2022 Olympia wellness results. Oh, what a gorgeous top 5. Another victory for Francielli. I think we're getting a really good idea what the judges want in wellness. A repeat win is so exciting. It just tells us so much about the standards of the division, and I love it. And this is so cool. And I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone who watched the live prediction I did with bodybuilding.com. It was so much fun. I could see you guys logging in and commenting. I loved it. And of course, you guys did such an amazing job in the comment section of the prediction video. You guys know what you're talking about. Amazing. Okay, so in terms of Olympia, I put a question mark because they haven't posted the rules for next year's show. So I'm presuming the rules are the same. So the winner qualifies for life. Second and third are qualified for the Olympia. And then fourth and fifth receive points, a lot of points. And then, of course, at the end of the qualification period, the 3 highest points all get to go to Olympia. So looking at the scorecard, we narrow it down to the top 5 because those are the girls that get the points. In first place, Francielli. Second place, Isabelle. Third, Angela. Fourth, Cassandra. And fifth, Rayanne. And what a massive lineup. There were so many athletes. It's just really spectacular. It was a clear win for Francielli. She had 5 points. It wasn't particularly close by any means. She definitely took the cake with no problems. There was a little bit more closeness between Isabelle and Angela, but still at the end of the day, a very, very fair, I think, top 5. Okay, so beginning with Rayanne in 5th place, doesn't she look spectacular? Man, she's got a lot of size, beautiful conditioning as well. I really noticed the amount of detail she had in this back quad, which has such a gorgeous shape. I also noticed the conditioning in her glute in the side. She's got a lot of detail coming through on her hip. This is really lovely, this shape she has here, just giving a great outline of the glute. From behind, just spectacular. Absolutely gorgeous tie-ins. A nice amount of detail in her hamstrings, but not too much, right? There's still a little bit of softness, but she's one of the more conditioned athletes of the top 5 here. You got a lot of detail in her abs. I think she's got beautiful definition in her delts and just a nice amount of curve to her arms as well. Another thing that I noticed is just the shape of her glute. It is so curvy. So there's no straight lines. There's no slants. She is just pure curve, and it goes right from the hip. So you've got the strap of her suit, and then it goes right into this beautiful round shape, and then right into curvy hamstring. I think it looks absolutely spectacular. And the other thing that I noticed is just how tiny the size of her torso is. Her waist is almost non-existent. It just goes glute, right into lat, and up into the delt. So a spectacular shape, really eye-catching. I thought she looked amazing. There were a few things that I thought, though, that she could perhaps improve upon for next year. The first thing I noticed was this back delt is really hidden. She seems to pose with the shoulder really facing the back rather than pulling it forward. So what I would do is I would definitely try to push this shoulder a little bit more back and this shoulder a little bit more forward, just so that when we're looking at her from the front, you get to see the symmetry in her upper body. I think that's really important, and I do notice it on some of the other athletes in this top 5. So that's definitely something I would try for her, just to allow us to see that beautiful shape in her upper body. And then the other thing I noticed, it wasn't so much in this picture. I noticed it more in the lineup, but I also noticed it on the live feed. A little bit too bent forward in her back pose. And the problem with having too much of a bend is it really shortens your upper body. And even though it's wellness and it's all about the lower body, you still have to have a beautiful shape from behind, which she clearly does. Gorgeous delts, a nice small waist. So I really don't want her to bend too far and then lose that gorgeous shape. But man, overall, I think she looked absolutely amazing, and what a spectacular 5th place for her. All right, next is Cassandra in 4th place. My gosh, when she walked on the stage, I just thought, wow, muscular. She is big. She has a lot of size, a lot of mass in her legs, but also in her upper body. She's got beautiful arms, great size in those delts. Man, the legs are spectacular. You've got a really easy to see sweep and gorgeous curves, nice big hamstring, beautiful calves. The definition is, again, a little bit she's a little bit more conditioned, right? She's got a lot of lines coming through in the quads. Like, check that out. That's very detailed. There's a lot of detail here in this back leg. She's got that beautiful line coming down here, which we always love to see. A little bit of detail down by the kneecap. A gorgeous outline to the glute. And I really noticed, even though she's super muscular, she has a very, very small waist, extremely flat stomach. It looked really spectacular. I did find, though, that the shape of her glute is not quite as round as some of the other competitors. So she does have an absolutely spectacular shape here at the bottom of her glute in particular. I love how it connects to her hamstring, but I feel that she could have a little bit more of that roundness on the top up here, just to fill in that straight line so that we see a bit more curve. I think she looks amazing. The other thing I was thinking, again, with the shoulders, for Cassandra, I'm noticing a little bit more of a slant. So this shoulder is lower than this one. So again, that throws off the symmetry just a little bit. And it also pulls her arm down, which then makes the upper body seem a little bit more compressed. I would love if she could open up the shoulder, pull it back, and just have a little bit more lightness and airiness to the upper body by really pumping it up and pulling back the shoulder. I mean, my gosh, her definition is fantastic. Her size is fantastic. I love the amount of size she has here at the bottom of her quads. I wouldn't mind if she had a bit more size up here at the top, but my gosh, 4th place at Olympia, this is crazy. She did absolutely spectacular. Okay, Angela in 3rd place. I know you guys love Angela. You would have loved to see her win, but this is a really good 3rd place for her. She's so spectacular. Her glutes are divine. She has so much size. Her back pose is just spectacular. The definition in the tie-ins, that outline she has of her glutes is gorgeous, and a nice amount of detail in her hamstrings as well. And her quads really come up high, so you really notice the sweep right from the glute. Unreal. I think how turned out her toes are probably helps that shape quite a lot. Now, I noticed her conditioning is not quite as detailed as our last 2 competitors. You don't have as many lines in her legs, right? You don't see quite as much of that full outline of the quad. So clearly there is room for some variation in terms of the conditioning. She has still, like I said, insane sharpness in her glute ham tie-ins. She's got this line coming down her leg, which is very well defined. Her abs are amazing, so small. She always has a bit of rib. That's kind of just the way that she poses. She really pulls in her stomach tight. It makes her waist so small. I think her shape in this front pose is just spectacular. What a crazy size she has in the lower body. Her glute is just gorgeous. One thing that I did notice, though, is in this side pose, I feel like she should do 2 things. Number 1, I would pull the leg out a little bit further so the feet aren't so close together. I think it would allow us to see a bit more of the hamstring on this back leg. It might even allow you to see the sweep even more clear. Not that you don't see it clearly here, but I just feel like this leg is quite hidden by the sweep of this leg. The other thing I would do, it would be to come up even higher on this toe, and you'll see it when we get to our next competitor. I just feel that the more light and airy you can be, particularly when you're very muscular, it just helps create that beautiful, soft, feminine, flowy ease about the presentation. So that's really my only suggestion. Very minor. I think she is spectacular. She's got incredible size. She's absolutely stunningly beautiful. The suit is gorgeous. I love that little bit of yellow that it has up at the top. She's really amazing. All right, Isabelle in second place. My gosh. So let's just start with the posing because I was just talking about it with Angela. This is what I mean. A little bit higher up on the toe. It just makes her feet look so light, like she's walking on clouds. And then you see a little bit more of this back leg. It's not being shadowed by the sweep of her quad. I think it's really beautiful. It's a really flattering shape. It just makes your eye really travel across those curves easily. Now, Isabelle herself is unbelievable. What a waistline. Super small, great definition. Her obliques are sharp. Her abs are well defined. You know, you've got the lines where the six pack is, but it's not like she's super ripped. She just has gorgeous definition. She also has crazy detail in the back of her legs. The glute hem tie-ins are extremely easy to see. The glutes themselves have a beautiful shape, like just perfectly outlined, really full, nice and round, and gorgeous amount of size in her legs. But I also really like how much size she has on the inside of her legs. Very beautiful curves. I think her posing and the way she walks is gorgeous. She has such a lovely way of moving. I've always thought she moves like a dancer, just so rhythmic and delicate and absolutely beautiful. I noticed the floor, actually, not for Isabelle in particular, but the floor almost looked soft. I can only imagine how difficult it would have been to walk with heels on that floor. So all of these women did an amazing job. I just can't get over it. I think she looks absolutely beautiful. She had really lovely definition in her quad in this front pose. I really noticed it. I do think, however, that she could have a little bit more size in her delts. So she's got a nice roundness here, but I feel like particularly in the lineup, you can notice a little bit more size here on this upper part would just kind of add a little bit more size, and I think it would look really nice. That's kind of the only real thing that I'm seeing that potentially could have taken her into a second place, because I think she's beautiful and she has all of the qualities that you need. Her conditioning is a little bit on the stronger side again, right? So you've got a lot of detail around the quad, that deep groove surrounding the glute. You've got beautiful amount of definition here in her back leg. So again, like I said, the conditioning seems to have a little bit of room for variation. Absolutely beautiful. All right, and now in first place, Francielli. She is spectacular. Clearly, she's exactly what wellness is supposed to be. And I noticed a few things with her. Number one, her shoulders are level and they're both facing forward. So we see the symmetry, we see the roundness, we see the fullness. We have a great view of that hourglass shape, that really nice S curve, tiny waist, beautiful conditioning. So you've got obliques, you've got a flat stomach. Her detail is there. You've got that deep groove here in her hip. I think in particular, you really notice her hamstring because of this gorgeous line she has separating the front from the back of her leg. She also has one of those glutes that the curves start right from the top of her strap. So a beautiful shape, just curve upon curve. Curvy delts, curvy back, curvy glute, curvy hamstring, curvy calves, like absolutely gorgeous. She's up on her toe, so she looks light and airy. She's posing beautifully. She's got a nice amount of space so that you really see both of the legs beautifully. You see the hamstring in the back leg. In her front pose, you really notice that shape where the waist comes in and the glutes are really full. And from behind, my gosh, her tie-ins are so crisp. She's got a little bit more definition in the hamstrings, so you really see a bit of a line. And one thing I noticed about Francielli, she does not have the largest legs of this top five. In fact, you might even argue she has the least amount of size, but she has absolutely beautiful proportions. The quads, the hamstrings, the whole shape of her leg is a really nice balance with the size of her glutes. And then you've got the small waist and nice shoulders to balance those out. So those delts really come out nice and wide to make your eye have just the most gorgeous, you really just kind of flow over her whole physique. So you add that with her presentation, her makeup, her gorgeous flowy hair, and it's just perfection. All right, so side by side, I think you'll see a few of those things I commented on. There's a difference in the conditioning. You see a little bit more detail here on Isabelle than you do, for example, on Francielli. I think Rayanne has a lot of detail coming through on her glute. You can see the shape of Cassandra's glute is a little different. She could probably use a little bit more roundness here. See what I mean about Angela's foot being flat and, having it up on the toe would just make her seem a little bit lighter. You can see how Rayanne's shoulder is facing the back, and then we just lose it. We don't get to see that beautiful delt and the symmetry. And then, of course, I notice all of these beautiful shapes, the tiny waists, the curves in the back. It's spectacular. And now from behind, my gosh, every single one of these women have incredible definition in their glute ham tie-ins. It's really spectacular. No wonder this is a top 5. Maybe you can see what I mean about Rayanne bending a little bit more than the rest. You kind of lose her waistline. You lose that triangular shape with the width up top of the delts. The other thing that I'm noticing, excuse me, is, like I said before, Francielli might not have the largest size to her legs. Next to her, Isabelle and Angela, I think, have more mass, but Francielli has beautiful definition. The glutes really come down into her legs and just a gorgeous proportion with not only her glutes, but her upper body as well. She's got a lot of width and she's posing beautifully to make those delts really stand out. All right, so again, I put the question mark because I'm not positive that the rules are the same, but I believe they are. So Francielli is qualified for life. Isabelle and Angela will also be qualified. And then Cassandra will have 12 and Rayanne will have 11. So I've got one more recap coming your way from yesterday, figure, and then of course, bikini is from today. So exciting. So make sure you subscribe, give me a like if you like this video, comment below what you thought about this top 5, and come find me. I'm at turquoisetoffee.wordpress.com and of course on Instagram at turquoisetoffee.